Aren't you tired of talking heads just talking? Black Gamut Entertainment is vowing to change the industry. We podcast with a purpose and our shows have goals. If you want to help make a change, then come join the Black Gamut family. Together, we make a difference.
This show has been like Smallville was that show for me, and this is that show for me, and it's just like.
And you know what? For some reason, the recording button did not hit. Oh, man. I tell you what, this is what we're going to do. Welcome, everyone, to Blurred's Eye View. I'm your host, Chris G. Blurred's Eye View is a podcast show that covers everything in geek pop culture and everything in between. And with me is my co-host for the second time.
Welcome
Darius
to
DCJ.
Podcast and Radio. This is what we call the Great White Buffalo. We've done this before.
Right.
This is Hot Tub Time Machine 3.
For those who don't know, we had a little bit of a mishap, like maybe 5 minutes into the show, and realized we weren't recording. So it's a good thing that we caught it soon when we did, and I'm able to get that together now. So here we go. With us, we have a guest host or a guest star today. Since our main topic today is family affair, and so I brought someone in from my own family who was my Uncle Wayne Hill. How you doing, Uncle Wayne?
I'm doing good.
All right. So we were talking about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and how Chloe Bennet has expressed interest in continuing playing the role of Daisy Johnson, a.k.a. Quake, in the further on into the MCU, and Darius was expressing himself in the most poignant and emotional way.
Don't worry, I can bring it back because.
Oh, please bring it back.
Okay, so here's the thing, people. I've watched this show since it started. I mean, hell, next to my family, this was my great family. I mean, I've watched, like I said, I watched this show from Coulson's death in the Avengers to Coulson coming back from Tahiti to Coulson dying again and again and again and so on and so forth into existence. But you guys get it. Fitz and Simmons finally get together, and after 6 seasons, that was beautiful. Even though their wedding was, they went through so much, them two, for love. That is a true love story. That is relationship goals.
Hey, when your future husband to be is in a vault at the bottom of the ocean or lake or whatever that was,
and Frozen,
and
they were in space.
You better love him.
Let's see. Simmons got sent through the monolith.
Yeah.
And was out there fighting the Wraith. Like, these two have been so much, and to see if it ends without them ending together, I might shoot my TV.
I honestly thought that last episode, this past episode, I'm like, this cannot be the final episode. There's no way you're gonna tell me this is the final episode and there are flashbacks, and that's how you like. No, that's
I knew that
right.
wasn't the end. But the flashbacks killed it. And then when he was like, Deke said, did they get the information about Fitz? And she said, who is Fitz?
Yeah, she
said, stuff.
He screwed around in her brain and made her forget.
Please, no.
Well, she said, if you push too far, he's going to disappear.
Yeah, he's going to go deeper.
Yeah, and he went so deep that he don't even know who she is.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, this show, to me, it's bittersweet. It's, some people watch a show and that's just it. To me, I invested into the show because the storylines were captivating. And almost every time they were about to be canceled, I stood on top of 4 tables to try to get them to keep the show going. Yeah. Although I lost this battle, I'm sure we'll see them in some iteration, later in the MCU, at least I hope. But
I would love to see them in another,
Well, there's talks.
I would love to see any of these characters,
Well, there's talks of Daisy, like from Marvel, they were talking about doing like bringing her in either on like Disney Plus is like Quake, but keeping her as Quake if they ever did something with Quake. Of course, Coulson is Coulson. I mean, if they replace him, you might as well just finish.
Look, they
it.
just need to finish his story. They
back
never really finished his story as far as the MCU is concerned.
No, because he died, and then that was it.
Yeah, they didn't know he was out there dying and coming back and dying and coming back. With all that they're going through. But I would love for them to, kind of revisit that
I
And
would just love for them to keep the show going, but that's
yeah,
just me. But
and then like that, but with that ominous message of this being their last mission together as a team, and my
somebody's
mind starts
dying.
racing. Yeah, somebody's gonna die, obviously, and then my mind's racing. I'm like, well, wouldn't it be cool if Sam Jackson's Nick Fury showed up again and says, I need to bring a couple of you in as my secret warriors, which
I wish, but you
that
got
would
to
be
remember
nice.
he's still out in space
Yeah.
unless he's come back. Because last time we saw him was what, Captain Marvel out in
Yep.
space.
Yep.
So I don't know. All I know is I'm not happy.
It's gonna be worse. It's gonna be worse come Wednesday.
And it's 2 hours. They had to make it 2 hours. Like you couldn't just end my suffering quickly with like a half hour. Here's what happens and move
No,
on.
because then we'd been running around pissed.
All right, no, I wouldn't be because I'm going to be pissed that you give me 2 hours to spend with them and that's not enough time. Like seriously, between this and Smallville, them the two shows that from beginning to end I've watched religiously. I mean, every episode as it come out, no reruns, no tapes. First run, that's it.
Oh,
Not, it just didn't feel right.
Man. So, in other news, the world's greatest comedy is being remade as an animated samurai movie about cats and dogs. Do you know what the world's greatest comedy movie is?
No, but I'm sure you're going to tell us.
All right. Blazing Saddles. Blazing Saddles starring Cleavon Little and Gene Wilder is actually being remade as an animated samurai movie about cats and dogs. I don't know how I feel about that, but it's called Blazing Samurai.
Why can't they just leave stuff alone?
I don't know.
That's what I want to know. Why they can't leave stuff alone? Now that is a classic.
Thank you.
Like that is untouchable. Like if you're gonna touch it, why make it god darn cats and dog samurais? Like, are you just that bored? You like, you know what? Hey, what do we do? Guy looks at his cat, looks at his dog. Samurai cats and dogs. Where are we gonna do it? Blazing Saddles. Let's go. And somebody actually greenlit this crap. Like that is a good idea.
That's horrible. That's a horrible.
I don't know what kind of mushrooms you was taking, but I'm on board. I want some. Let's go.
Right. That is possibly like you said on one. That is it is. It's a class. It's such a classic that not only do I watch it all the time it's on, I bought the Blu-ray. Mm-hmm. And I quote that movie heavily.
So it came out in '76, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
it came out the year I was born.
In the military, so I went to the theater to see it, and I never laughed so hard in my life.
Yeah,
it was just funny. Every time it come on TV, I'm like you, I catch it.
Yeah, it's a film that by today's standards could not be made. I don't think they could pull it off if they decided to make that type of film in today's world. I don't know, but Mel Brooks was not only is he probably one of the funniest people out there, but he learned. It's almost he has. If you watch Family Guy, it has that same kind of tone and funny. It just pokes fun at everybody. How can you be offended if everybody's being made fun of? And that's what Blazing Saddles was. I found it very endearing that yeah, we have some Indians in here that talk Jewish. We have the Latino gang bikers, even though it's taking place in the Old West. They still somehow have motorcycle handlebars with no horse or whatever.
And the one that got me was Mongo.
No. I love when they're talking about going back. They got to pay the toll. And
yep.
me and my brother would always sit back and like, why don't they just walk around the gate? Just like, there's nothing there.
Somebody's got to go back and get a shitload
he was like, somebody's got to go back and get some dimes. And just walk around the gate. That movie's hilarious. For those who've never seen it, I advise you highly check out Blazing Saddles. It's very hilarious. But the remake or the animated version that they're looking on, I don't know how they're going to pull this off. But the story follows a dog named Hank who dreams of becoming a samurai. When he becomes in charge of protecting Kakamucho, he learns that the town is populated entirely by cats. I don't see how any of that relates to Blazing Saddles.
None of that makes sense.
No, with the exception of him being in charge to protect the town. That's the only piece that links anything to Blazing Saddles. Everything else that involves Blazing Saddles, like, you can't tell me that after this is all over, they're going to have a pie fight that goes offset and into other movie sets. I don't see that happening. You know,
no,
that's not a good move. But you know, whatever. If it's to bring kids in, who knows?
I think it's gonna go. I think it's just gonna go straight to Netflix.
It should go straight to Netflix.
I think it's gonna go straight to the trash can, but that's just me. I mean, again, why are we rebooting stuff that doesn't need rebooting?
It doesn't need rebooting.
I mean, throughout the ages of time, we have rebooted everything under the sun more than once. Spider-Man has gotten 3 different cuts. Now, I'm happy with Tom Holland, but the other ones really didn't suck that bad.
No, they didn't. They did not. Except for Jamie Foxx, I'm sorry, and
yeah, that whole bad. It was just the wig.
Actually, I take that back. I could deal with him. It was Topher Grace's Venom. I couldn't swallow that one.
Oh, let's not go there, because that was he had fingernails. What Venom has fingernails? Like brown fingernails.
He didn't strike me the least bit.
He didn't scare me at all. Topher
Grace
is like the least venomous person I've ever thought of in my life. When I thought of Venom, he damn sure wasn't it when I was doing casting. Tom Hardy was great.
Yeah, Tom Hardy was great. I like Tom Hardy.
But this dude was that 70s show. Like, you're Eric Foreman. You don't strike fear in the hearts of no one.
Dumbass.
Like, your bird chest is not
I'm
scared
gonna put that clip in there
person.
too. I'm gonna put that in there.
Damn fool. Dumbass.
All right, I'm gonna put that sound clip in. In Justice League news, Zack Snyder releases a new image of Steppenwolf.
Scary.
And it looks good. Why, oh why, did we not get this previous cut before? I'll never know. From what I have seen, and I'm pretty sure many of you out there have seen it on the internet, the certain visions of Darkseid. You've seen more of Green Lantern. You've seen more a lot. Yeah, you've seen a lot of Steppenwolf. You've seen a lot more of everything. And honestly, I'm very much ready for this Zack Snyder cut of Justice League. You know, the original version, I don't think it's not his version. It's not his version.
Not at all.
You know, no disrespect to Joss Whedon, because I love his work, but this is one of those tropes where I don't agree with you taking a director and making him leave halfway through his tenure of a film. It changes the tone. Now, I know, he had a vision. I know that he had a son and his son had committed suicide, but at the same time, the studio was looking to let him go anyway, so it was kind of a coincidence that it happened. And, you know, personally, he probably would have left because of his son, you know, passing away, but the fact that you didn't release his cut, you know, the movie suffered behind it. It did. It suffered. But the images that I've seen, the storyboards that's if they're real that have come out were amazing. Even Jason Momoa said there was things that they were shown that never made it. You know, and yeah.
Yeah, DC dropped the ball on this one.
I've
been a DC fan my whole life.
It was
this whole Justice League fiasco has left a bad taste in my mouth.
It's a Warner Brothers deal. It's Warner Brothers. They seem to.
Well, they screwed DC because Marvel has done it right since day one. And DC was on the right path, and then Superman Returns happened, which on this show is like the Great White Buffalo. We don't really want to talk about it, but it happened. So they were on the path to make these movies, and now they're like, this whole Snyder cut, Whedon cut, it's a bad look. Because the Whedon cut was trash and it got a lot of bad reviews and nobody likes it. And now everybody's seeing the stuff from this Snyder cut And it's like, this is the movie y'all should have gave us in the first place. Why are y'all peddling around with all this nonsense?
Right.
Like, had you kept it what it should have been and what it was from what we're seeing, you would have made a lot more money.
Yeah, definitely. In other news, not only are we getting a part 4 of this film, but we're also getting a part 5. And who I'm talking about is John Wick.
Killed my dog.
Oh, man. John Wick 5 is back. Oh, yeah. John Wick 5 is officially confirmed on Lionsgate earnings call. He is set to shoot back-to-back with Chapter 4, which is a smart move because you look how long of a gap we're getting right now. I want this. John Wick, starring Keanu Reeves, is everybody's revenge-getting assassin who kills people with pencils because they killed his puppy dog. But it was
like, think about how that started. This whole, you got 5 movies because somebody killed his damn dog.
Exactly.
Like, how many other franchises can say it all started with a dog? Like, imagine that story in a bar. Hey, how'd you get here? They killed his dog. So
not only that, but they took his car. Like, I'll never forget that scene. That scene was hilarious in that first one. That scene was hilarious because the gangster realizes, yeah, we took this guy's car, and I'm like, do you know whose car that is? You idiot.
That was dude's son.
Yeah, he's like, you idiot.
You took John Wick's car, and you beat him up, and killed his dog, and they blew up his house too.
Yeah.
Nope.
Oh, they did the fucking quadruple dumbass move. Like, you killed his dog.
Between that and the cop showing up at the door after he's fought off some assassins.
That is my favorite part.
And he says, he looks past him. He sees all the dead bodies. He's like, John, yeah.
And that's what struck me through this whole movie. It wasn't like, hey, you out here killing people. It's like, oh, hey, looks like you're working again.
Right?
Are you back? Well, looks like I'm back. Like, that's just
it's amazing. But they're currently preparing scripts for the next 2 installments of the John Wick action franchise, with John Wick 4 slated to hit theaters Memorial Day weekend 2022. Oh God, we gotta wait that long.
Damn, so that means 2024 for 5.
So they hope to shoot both John Wick 4 and 5 back to back when Keanu Reeves becomes available early next year. Look, we're all gonna go see this thing, so there's no question. The past couple of years have literally been the age of Keanu Reeves, and as I like to poignantly coin it, the Keanu-cence. You have John Wick 1 and 2 and 3. He starred on a Netflix comedy film. He has starting this month, Bill and Ted Face the Music gets released, and not one person has a bad thing to say about Keanu Reeves. He is possibly one of the he is the Tom Hanks of another generation. The stories I've heard about this man.
Like, he was walking barefoot, just handing out, like, gave a man change one day, and it was like a lot of money, and he does like a lot of charity stuff. This guy is too nice.
Yeah.
Like, I need some dirt on him. I'm sorry. I just can't trust a man who hasn't done anything wrong in his past. Like, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's who knows? He could be Jesus. I don't know.
I've often thought that because Keanu is just too smooth. He's too chill. Like, all his movies, like, you know, some characters, like, some guys play the same character in every movie, and it's like, we're sick of this. Most of his characters are all the same, except for Speed. That was kind of weird.
Yeah.
I don't want to bring up Speed anyway, because that was just a weird movie in the first place.
It's Dennis Hopper.
Yeah, man. It's just the premise of Speed. Just, whatever. But that's not why we're here, though. The whole premise of Speed, while I'm on it, it was just stupid. Because if the bus goes below whatever, it's gonna blow up. Yeah. So
I'm like, I don't know why would your bus go above 50?
Yeah, what bus you ever seen above 50 ever in life?
It doesn't make sense.
And then they just like circling the airport, and it's just all this.
Let's face it, that bus would have tipped over a long time ago.
Yep, would have.
Like, the shocks on that bus had to be the greatest shocks ever. Like, that bus had to be animatium shocks. Like, it just didn't make no sense. the amount of force and everything this bus was taking, and it didn't. Nothing happened to it.
Right. What you think, Uncle?
It was a good flick. I liked it. It had Sandra Bullock in it too, didn't it?
Yep. Both of them.
That was the only good part. That was Saving Grace.
Yeah. The Saving
No,
Grace
the second one was even worse. Oh,
Yeah.
that's not okay.
It was
Back to
worse.
Keanu.
It was worse because Keanu left. He's like, I'm not getting on a boat.
You guys want me on a boat? Like, I'm surprised the bus worked the first time. Now we're on a boat that if it goes under 20 knots, this shit's gonna blow up. Like, who comes? Like, who was green again? Who was green like this stuff? Like, what kind of acid trip are these people taking when they come up with some of these movies? Like,
and
some
it's
of
crazy because the person who played that part was Jason Patrick, who played the brother Michael in the Lost Boys. And I'm like, dude, you went from Lost Boys to this?
Saving boats. Titanic 2020. What? Back to Keanu Reeves. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Keanu Reeves, we wish you the best luck. COVID, go away, please, so we can get our movies back out.
Yeah.
Images of Robert Pattinson in the new Batman outfit actually look promising. They showed him along with Zoe Kravitz, who's playing Catwoman in this film. And I gotta say, color me intrigued. It looks good. Obviously, this film looks like it's going to be more of a year one type of scenario. I don't know. I mean, aesthetically, it looks great. Robert Pattinson is a really good actor, despite the god-awful Twilight films I don't like to mention, not even on this show. But he's done a lot of indie films. And he's shown that he can act,
Yeah.
So he's not a bad actor. I think it's just glittery diamond vampires leaves a bad taste in people's mouth. It just does.
I just hope that's not the Batman we're getting.
Oh, I pray. Because if that's one of those situations, Warner Brothers, I will ban you.
And dear Lord, no bat nipples, because that fiasco is still haunting my nightmares.
George Clooney.
I cannot stand George Clooney.
Why was he playing Batman?
Yeah, again, yes, that's my gripe. Why is George Clooney, this pretty dude, is not nowhere near Batman? He had a sheltered life. I don't want him playing. Val Kilmer was all right. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody. Yeah, Val Kilmer was okay. He wasn't.
But George Clooney was the worst Batman, hands down. I'm sorry.
But he's no Keaton.
Oh hell no, nobody's Keaton.
Nobody.
Nobody.
I like him, but you see,
I love Michael Keaton as Batman.
They start changing different ones, and I kind of lose interest. If you start out with somebody, I'd like to see you keep on going with them.
And that was the plan, but. After the second one, after Tim Burton left, and they wanted to do another one, they hired not Michael Bay. Whew, thank God it wasn't Michael Bay.
Oh God, I don't want
Joel
Ninja Turtle
Schumacher.
Transformer Batman.
Yeah, it was Joe Schumacher. Rest in peace, Joe Schumacher. But it was Joe Schumacher who took over, and he is the reason we got all the bright, vibrant colors and the bat nipples, which was absolutely unneeded.
Atrocious. It was
butt shots.
Redundant. Yeah, like what? Yeah. That was like a bat porno. Like, why was we seeing nipples and ass in a Batman flick?
Yeah.
That was
I see more bat ass in that movie than I want to see. Like, a lot of ass in that movie. Like, man.
It was more than I needed
more
to
than
see.
Enough.
Even when I try to rewatch it, I can't. It's hard to stomach.
The rewatch value of that movie is just.
Yeah.
However, the saving grace is Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze. Only because
that shows how bad that movie is. Because Arnold Schwarzenegger,
Schwarzenegger.
broken English. I'm Mr. Freeze.
Although his whole reasoning for stealing the diamonds and to freeze everything over, and they made no sense. And it reminds me of a meme that I've seen, and it says, Mr. Freeze does a lot of robberies for diamonds so he can fund the research to save his wife that's in cryogenic sleep. Correct?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Bruce Wayne is a billionaire, correct?
True.
Mm-hmm.
why wouldn't he help the doctor fund the research to save his wife?
Yeah, because technically, Mr. Freeze wasn't a true criminal.
Yeah.
He's more like a Robin Hood.
Yeah, he was
With
like,
on
look,
ice?
he's like, I don't have a way to, I'm trying to save my wife. The disease that has her in sleep is the same disease that's affecting me. And it's a reason why, like, so I'm trying to find the cure, and no one will give me the money.
So
Meanwhile, Batman is tearing
let me-
ass around Gotham and tearing up everything and paying for it.
let me say something here. Mr. Freeze, you said Schwarzenegger.
Hmm.
If I wanted to pick a Mr. Freeze, it would have been Dolph Lundgren. You know,
Wow. He would have been.
you
That's
know,
not bad.
yeah,
It's not a bad pick.
It's just Arnold's English that just.
yeah.
I can't. Get
Not only is it not a
behind
bad
him.
pick, but in real life, Dolph Lundgren has a chemical engineering degree.
Yeah.
See, so he wouldn't.
There's a
even have to
funny
practice
story
the
behind
words.
that too. There's a funny story behind him. There's a very funny story behind.
See, he doesn't
Dolph Lundgren.
strike me as a chemical engineer.
That's
but
this is the funny story. See, check this out. We're gonna veer off a little bit. Here's the funny
Yeah,
story
we do
about
it.
Dolph Lundgren. Dolph Lundgren, he's Swedish. Am I correct? I think he's.
I believe so. Yeah.
So, in that country, you serve your time in the military, and he was in that military. He was in the Swedish version of the Navy SEALs. I don't know what it is, but so badass already. Now,
Yeah. The Swiss misses.
yeah, the Swiss. So he's away, and he's probably away shooting a film or something, and some people rob his house. Now his wife was home. His kids were not, but his wife was home alone, and they tie her up. They ransack the house. They're going around, and then they come across the family photo of Dolph
Get that
Lundgren.
ass out of there quick.
And they looked at him. They pretty much was like, please don't tell him we did this. We didn't take anything. And they untied the wife and left.
Oh hell yeah! You haul ass. That's like walking in Mike Tyson's house, stealing
Yep.
some stuff, and be like, "Oh yeah, whose house is this? Oh shit, that's Mike." Okay.
I'm not messing with that.
Unpack everything y'all got out them bags. Y'all put Mr. Tyson shit down now. Y'all
And put it
how
back
dare
right
y'all?
where you found it.
But
And
see,
dust
with
it off
Mike-
while you at it.
See, with Mike, he gonna find you. He gonna
Right.
get you
And that's
everything
even
back.
worse. Even after you put it back, he'll
He gonna
find you.
Yeah. So maybe they got off easy. Being
Yeah, so-
Dolph.
And it was funny because he also knows some martial arts, and let's face it, it's Dolph Lundgren. It's Ivan Drago.
Just the name of it.
He's their version of Chuck Norris.
Oh man, I've seen so many Chuck Norris memes.
So
Chuck Norris
that
got the coronavirus, and the coronavirus ran off scared.
right, or what was it? He died. No,
He
he
came
no, that's
back
what.
twice.
Yeah, Chuck Norris catches COVID-19. He dies, but then he comes back and kills COVID-19 or something. It was something
Yeah.
crazy.
Oh man, there's so many Chuck Norris memes. I lost count, but they're all funny.
All right. There's another movie, Ozark star Jason Bateman is once again stepping behind the camera for Superworld, an adaptation for Gus Krieger's novel focusing on the only man on Earth without superpowers.
What?
He might be stepping behind the camera, but for some reason I could see Jason Bateman being in
the
the
man
front of
without
yeah.
He strikes me as a man without powers.
Yeah, right.
I don't know what it is about him.
he plays this straight guy role very, very well.
Yeah.
I know Dark.
Well, no, yeah, not on Ozark, exactly. He plays that role pretty well, so I can actually see him trying to explain his way out of stuff, as he generally does, or trying to analyze everything he does.
Mm-hmm.
That would be fun to see. Described as having a tone similar to Pixar's The Incredibles, Mark Perez is penning the screenplay. Previously worked with Bateman on Game Night. Now that's a funny movie.
That is a funny.
That's a
movie.
hilarious movie, especially when you find out the Denzel Washington angle. That was hilarious. While Bateman is perhaps best known for his acting career, receiving an Emmy nomination for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Drama Series for Ozark, he made a name for himself behind the camera as well, and recently worked with Perez on an untitled comedy coming to Netflix, which would star Suicide Squad actor John Cena. given everything that's going on right now, it will probably be a while
John
before we get to.
Cena?
Yeah, they're doing that remake of Suicide Squad and John.
Oh,
Cena's
okay,
in
the
it.
new one. Okay, yeah, I'm about to say where
Not
the
that
hell-
other one.
Oh, You Can't See Me. We never saw him. That's why.
That's right. That's why.
Oh, okay. Guess we really couldn't see him.
No, yeah. I didn't even know he was in the movie.
God damn, they didn't even put him in the credits. He was so
That
good.
is
Not being
interesting. So, also we got a new trailer for Wonder Woman 1984. This one looks a little more action intensive, but still waiting for the release. There are teases of Kristen Wiig, who's playing.
She looks good as Chitara. or
Yeah,
Cheetah.
Cheetah. Yeah, yeah.
Where's
It's
Chitara? Oh, that's
Thundercats.
Thundercats.
Yeah.
Same person, just different attitudes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh wow. There's so much that's going on in the news world. So I advise everybody, check out our Facebook page, Blurred's Eye View, and find out. And also one more little piece of news before we go to break. Knight Rider is getting a big screen adaptation or a big screen reboot by Spyglass Media and James Wan. James Wan, I believe he did direct Fast and the Furious. Well, at least one of the Fast
One
and the
of them. I
Furious.
think it was Tokyo Drift.
Okay, so
I believe.
if it stands to question, if it means anything, I think it'll focus a lot more on the car.
Yeah, because
I don't know. Not many people cared about Michael Knight. They cared more about the car.
Kit was the star.
That was it.
Michael Knight was just like I don't know. He was sidekick.
Right.
Yep.
So, we'll be going to break shortly. When we return, we'll have a little segment I created called "On This Day in Pop Culture History." Right after this message,
Yep.
and we are back. Blurred's Eye View. How's it going, everybody? Or how's everybody's day?
Oh, us. Okay, I thought you were talking the people. Well, this is about the people. My day was all right, man. Just driving around, delivering medical equipment and that stuff, fun stuff.
So, as you know, we've started a new segment, and it's called "On This Day in Pop Culture History." And today is August 8th. So, did you know what happened on August 8th?
No, but I know you're gonna tell us.
All right. You know what? I love that tagline.
I
We gotta
never
keep
know,
that
but
in.
I know you're gonna tell us. That's why I just say
So,
that.
this is the segment we have called "On This Day in Pop Culture History."
On this day in pop culture history.
And on this day in pop culture history, in 1961, Fantastic Four #1 premiered by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. It rocketed into existence like a ship carrying four adventurers bombarded by cosmic rays. The issue features the first appearance of the Fantastic Four and the Mole Man and sparked the birth of the Marvel Age of Comics and truly changed the landscape of pop culture. In 1963, The Amazing Spider-Man #6 by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko introduces the Lizard. Molecule Man was one of the most powerful and bullied characters in the universe, and he debuts in Fantastic Four #20 by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. Over in Tales of Suspense #47, Stan Lee and Steve Ditko introduced Iron Man's newest foe, the mysterious Melter.
That guy.
In 1968, the Vision, one of the longest tenured and most important members of the Avengers, the synthesoid Vision, made his first appearance in Avengers #57 by Roy Thomas and John Buscema. Created by Ultron and sent to kill the Avengers, Vision turns on his maker and helps defeat the malevolent droid. And here's the fun fact for issue 58. It contains the story, Even an Android Can Cry, and it's one of Lorraine's all-time favorites, whoever Lorraine is.
Lorraine, shout out to you.
Right on. So that is what happened on this day in pop culture history, at least in the comic world. Nothing like last week where you had Howard the Duck.
Yeah, we had a Howard the Duck sighting, and that's always amazing because he was in Cleveland, slapping skins with Rhea. What was her name?
Oh, you was gonna say Rhea Perlman?
Almost. I don't know why. Rhea
Man, that's a
Perlman-
totally different movie.
Totally. That's a weird. Sorry, Rhea Perlman, Danny DeVito. I didn't mean to make your wife and Howard. We're gonna move on. All right. Next.
We don't want to dig that hole.
Moving right
So,
along. Now,
today's right. So today's topic is, which is touching because I mentioned the Fantastic Four, and today's topic is about family affair, which is why I have my uncle on. Him and my other uncle Stuart are pretty much the reasons that I am the comic book head that I am today. This particular subject will touch on the different families that's in comic book lore. You know, so you have, as I mentioned, the Fantastic Four. You have Wolverine, who has his son, Daken, and I guess you can say surrogate daughter in X-23. You have the X-Men, which is considered a family in itself. And within that family is the infamous bloodline that Mr. Sinister always loves playing with, is Scott Summers and Jean Grey, or Madeline Pryor, depending on which timeline you're screwing with. So we will start. So we'll start. We'll start with the Fantastic Four. As you see, they was created in 1961, and it started the titular characters of Reed Richards, Susan Storm, Franklin Storm, or Johnny Storm. I'm sorry, Johnny Storm, and Ben Grimm. Ben and Reed were best friends. Ben was his pilot. Sue was the girl that Reed was dating, and Johnny was the little brother of Sue. Mm-hmm. And they all have a slight mishap on a private spaceship going to space. They were bombarded with cosmic rays. Upon returning to Earth, they end up with these fantastical powers. Now, for those who think I'm reading off a cue card, I'm not. I'm literally doing that from memory. So
I can attest to that.
That is literally what happened.
That is that is really what happened. They have seen many things over the decades. Reed and Sue even broke up. They never divorced, but they did break up during the Civil War. Ben is currently married now to Alicia Masters, who is the daughter of the Puppet Master. Johnny seems to not know how to settle down, and when he does, is always the wrong girl. His first wife turned out to be a Skrull. His second wife is one of the Inhumans, and let's just face it, Johnny shouldn't get married anymore.
Johnny liked them girls.
He just should not be married anymore. He should just leave that alone. Who do you have on the mark for those?
Wait, what was the question?
Who do you have for your families?
Oh, I'm gonna go with the Thanos family. That was always an interest. I know they're villains, but
family's family.
Family is family. You had Thanos, Gamora, Nebula, and I didn't even know Thanos had a brother. Nobody. That was the brother. Eros. He was Star Fox.
Yeah. Yep. Eros.
He was an Avenger.
Exactly.
You learned so much when Thanos is not being an asshole. He actually had family.
To think that his father wanted to kill him because he had a deviant gene in his body, hence the black eyes. He had black eyes.
Imagine that today.
Doll's eyes that stare into your soul.
The Mad Titan with the black eyes. But no, I mean that family, and then you had his and I can never remember their names.
Who they're not the Eternals, but
no, they're what do you call them? They're all in the Avengers, and I can't remember their names.
Yeah. Who do you have, Uncle Wayne?
Uh-huh.
Who do you have?
I'm here.
Who do you have?
Who do I have?
Yeah.
Well, nephew, all this is new to me. Starting out with the Fantastic Four, when we read up on them, it was just Fantastic Four. They didn't have families back then. In different comic books, Batman and Spider-Man and different ones. We old.
Yeah.
So we got to see stuff firsthand, but after a period of time, we got away from it. And so, listening to y'all, all these superheroes got different mamas and kids, and in a different time period. I think he was telling me about something called 616.
Yeah, that's
all of this is new
yeah,
to me.
Yeah, the main universe of the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when I watch it on TV, when I go to the movie and watch Fantastic Four or X-Men,
I'm so sorry.
Fantastic
I'm so
Four,
sorry.
they've kept the movie just like in the comic book, how they how they got their superpowers. When we started reading from the beginning, we knew how certain ones like Spider-Man got bit, Hulk. We knew how he got his powers, and that was about it. So everything today is just new. All these different people,
right?
Jean Grey, his bloodline, and Bruce Wayne and Robin. Everything is this is all new.
So you mentioned Bruce Wayne and Robin.
Robin.
They have a very Robin. They have a very. He has a very interesting family dynamic, and I say that's because there's been more than one Robin. There was always Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, Tim Drake, Carrie Kelly in the future, and now Damian Wayne. And if you didn't know that, Damian Wayne is and Terry McGinnis. But Terry McGinnis does not count as Robin. Terry McGinnis is actually a Batman. So Dick Grayson was the first of the Robins, and he adopted him. He took him in. Yeah.
Okay.
He took Dick in. Boy, that sounded wrong.
Welcome to the show, folks.
We're here all night.
He had black eyes, and he looked at you. No, sorry. Go ahead, Robin. Young Dick in.
All right. He took him in. He adopted him. He adopted Dick.
There's a Robin in the house.
Richard Grayson. Richard Grayson.
We're gonna call him Richard.
He adopted young Richard after the death of his family because Richard Grayson Dick Grayson was an acrobat. He was born in an acrobat family. He was raised in the Flying Graces. He was born in the circus, so that made him pretty much the perfect fit to be Batman's first Robin. After adopting Richard, or after adopting Dick, we can clear it out now. And so, he became older, and he wanted to go on his own, so he became Nightwing. Next up to bat was Jason Todd, whom
didn't fare so well.
Did not fare well at all. Jason Todd, let's put it like this. If you have kids out there, if anyone's out there listening, and you have at least 2 children, I guarantee you one of those 2 are the bad ones.
Yeah.
One of them is going to be way different than the other one. Doesn't matter what you do. And that was Jason Todd. Jason Todd was pretty much a kid on the streets, and he discovered Bruce Wayne's identity by basically trying to steal the hubcaps off the Batmobile. He stumbles across the Batcave, discovers the secret, and he's very brash and very headstrong. Doesn't like to listen much, which led him into the situation that he was in at that time, where Joker pretty much beats him to death with a crowbar. But he didn't beat him all the way. He just beat him halfway. And then he blows up the warehouse that he's in, which people were called in and voted for his death.
I remember that.
Yeah. And next up was Tim Drake. Tim Drake was extremely intelligent. He was extremely smart. He came from a single-parent home. And he's more of the technical genius. And once he became older, he left off and became Red Robin. Carrie Kelly was the Robin that from the future, when Bruce Wayne comes out of retirement to face off against a mind-controlled Superman. He was much older, much more gruff. And Carrie Kelly just not really considered part of the family, just another Robin. But then comes Damian Wayne. Damian Wayne is the progeny of Bruce Wayne and Talia al Ghul, which is the daughter of Ra's al Ghul. And yes, it's pronounced Ra's, not Raz. Or it depends. Depends on what side of the fence you're in. Doesn't matter. That's another show.
Yeah, it was always Ra's al Ghul, but you know.
It depends on, if it's
Semantics.
Semantics, right. So, he did not realize that Talia was pregnant. As a matter of fact, Damian is more or less, for lack of a better term, a test tube baby.
Exactly.
Yeah. So he had no knowledge of him, and since his birth, Talia and Ra's, whatever, who runs the League of Shadows, trained Damian from the time that he could walk to be an assassin. And then by the time he's maybe 8 years old, Talia al Ghul does the ultimate baby mama move and drops him on Bruce's doorstep and says, "Here's your son."
Those papers.
Right. You're like, "Here's your son. He's yours to raise now. Deal with him." He keeps asking about who his father is, and that's that. And Bruce is stunned, obviously, and so he raises him. But he has to retrain Damian to not be a killer. And it's worked. It took some time, but it's worked. And you thought Jason Todd was brash. Damian, who's now probably around the age of 10 or 11, thinks of himself, he's very cocky. He's like, "I'm the real son of Batman. If anything happens, I'll be the one to take the mantle next." And
I loved him in Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
hilarious.
that show. She's my nemesis.
He wanted it so bad.
He
wanted all the smoke,
but couldn't handle it.
He wanted all the smoke, couldn't handle it.
He wiped his nose. "I'm Batman's son."
Right. But it left to question a lot of stuff. And he's currently running around. He's running the Teen Titans right now, actually.
Yeah.
So, then you have Superman and Lois, who has a son named Jonathan Kent, named after his Earth father. And Damian and Jonathan are the best of friends, and they both act just like their fathers, which is quite hilarious. Because to see that dynamic between Bruce and Clark, where one's
kids,
and you're just like, every time Batman's around, his chest got to poke out that much more. And Superman is more like, you don't have to do that. And it's funny because now you see the whole dynamic between Damian and Jonathan, where they have to play that whole role. It's like they got shrunk down and they're playing off for each other now. It's fun. That's in Super Sons, I believe it is. It's called Super Sons.
Okay.
But yeah, now I think the most confusing family. Well, before I get to that confusing family dynamic, I think the most confusing dynamic. Well, the next is not. It's Wolverine. It's nothing confusing about it. Wolverine has a son.
Yeah, they never mentioned him ever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and he's Japanese.
I didn't think he was ever seeing anybody.
He married a woman in Japan.
He married a woman in Japan. Yumiko.
Her name was. They mentioned her in the cartoons.
Yeah.
The old 90s cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
She was mentioned.
Yeah.
But after that, never mentioned none of the movies.
Right. They never touch on it in the films. They touch on it in the comics, and this is what happens. He's married to Yumiko, and she gets killed by, I believe it's Silver Samurai.
Yeah.
But he didn't realize that she was pregnant. Now,
do they ever?
The baby survived. And I think it was either Sinister or Apocalypse who took the baby and raised it.
Draken.
Yeah, Draken, yeah. He's which is funny because he has this full-on mohawk, shaved sides, tattoo on one arm, and instead of having 3 claws like his father, he has 2, and he has a mad hate for his father. It's basically saying, "Oh, you left me to die," and Wolverine is like, "Kid, I don't even know who you are. 1, 2. If you're saying Yumiko is your mother, I didn't even know she was pregnant."
It's just a weird dynamic.
It truly is. It's Dickens.
But the superheroes, they have kids and they don't know about it until they drop on the doorstep.
Oh yeah,
That's usually how it works.
yeah.
Until that child support kick in.
That child support kicks in. It's a major problem after that.
Like, imagine being a superhero and being served with child support papers. Like, just
I didn't sign up for this.
Batman coming through the door, he take off the suit. And, Master Wayne, there's papers for you on the table. All right, Alfred. All right, Alfred, I'll check that out. Oh, yes, sir. Hurry, T's on. A child? Papers? Child support? I'm
Right.
Batman. What the hell? Swear to me, I didn't know.
Right.
I figured that's how it goes.
It's somewhere in that line. So
And then you got X-23.
yeah, X-23 is basically like the surrogate daughter, like another test tube baby. Like, let's face it, someone like Wolverine who's been around as long as he has and dropped as much blood as he has, someone's gonna collect it.
Sooner or later, he's dropping out the.
Somebody who's knowledgeable enough, and that's just what happened. And there you have X-23. But she acts more like Wolverine does than the Ken does. Which, once again, if you have 2 children out there, people, one of them is not going to be the dream kid you thought he was going to be.
Nope. It's 50-50, people. One's bad, one's good.
And that was the Ken in X-23, or Laura, as she's known. Laura, that's her name.
Yeah.
So this leads to our most confusing family tree. It's a Cyclops and Jean Grey. Now, it's bad enough that the romance alone is worn out.
It's weird.
It's even worse when the family tree is just so twisted that they just have kids all over the timeline. All over the alternate universes. So, we'll start here. You have Cyclops and Jean Grey. They obviously, everyone knows who they are. Their kid is Cable. Now, Cable was taken from them and sent to the future, raised in a war-torn world, basically a battle world, so to speak. And when he returns, he's older than his father. Now, Cyclops also thought his own father was dead, and he's actually the lead. He's a space pirate leading the Starjammers, which, when you first see them in the 90s, at least when I did, it was the most god-awful, gaudy space pirate costume I've ever seen. Think puffy shirts, but puffy shirt and pants and boots.
Ooh.
Really
Sounds
bad.
like a rapper's today.
Really bad. And then you have, actually, no, that's Cyclops and Madeline Pryor, which was actually a clone of Jean Grey. That's their kid. From that little bloodline comes Tyler Dayspring, who's known as Genesis, and he's actually dead. Cyclops and Jean Grey has 2 children, actually. Rachel Grey Summers and Nate Grey from the Age of Apocalypse line. Timeline.
Summers?
Yeah, Nate Grey is actually, if you know Cable has that metal arm because he has that virus, that techno-organic virus put in the system by Apocalypse. So if he did not have that virus in the system, he would be just as powerful as his mother, Jean Grey. Well, stepmother or twin mother or original mother, whatever.
However that works. That's so confusing.
Like I said, Madeline Pryor and Jean Grey. Madeline Pryor was the clone of Jean Grey. But at any rate, if he didn't have that virus, he would be just as unstoppable as Jean Grey, if not stronger. That's what Nate Gray is. Nate Gray is a younger version. He's, at the time he's introduced, he's probably like 16, 17. He's from the Age of Apocalypse timeline, and he has no inhibitions. He has nothing holding him back. He is an Omega level mutant. Mm. Rachel Gray is just like her mother as well. So crazy. But Rachel Gray and Franklin Richards, which is Reed and Sue Richards' son, have a kid, and it's Jonathan Richards, known as Hyperstorm. Now, for those who don't know, Franklin Richards has an ability that allows him to basically form pocket dimensions and form his own worlds. He can pretty much, he's like a mini god in so many aspects. And if you have somebody who can do that, and he gets with someone who has the mental capabilities the same as their mother, imagine what that kid can do. I don't even know if that counts as an Omega level mutant, because something goes past
what is past that?
Yeah,
that alpha?
Past that.
That's a scary thought.
It is a very scary thought. Black Panther and Storm have, even though it's not in the main story timeline, they actually have several kids. I think they have a son in one, and they actually showed up in one of the Avengers books maybe a few years back, and he has a combination of his mother and his father's powers, which is actually a cool concept.
Some cat lightning.
Yeah. You got the powers of the Black Panther, but then you can control lightning. You can,
that's scary.
Yeah. So
all of this is happening in the comic books. It's too much to actually put in.
That's never gonna see film. Now that kid, he did end up in an animated Avengers 2
the kid
movie.
One. Yeah, that was actually good.
Yeah.
I love that.
It was one of the few animated Marvel films that were good. Actually, they weren't. Matter of fact, all the Marvel animated films, they weren't bad.
They weren't DC level though.
Exactly, they weren't DC level films.
But that one was actually good because Ultron came back, and you had an old Hulk.
Yeah, you had an old.
Betty was still alive. Iron Man was dying.
He was dying. Yep. Cap and Black Widow had a kid, and their son was every much
Captain
his
America.
Father. Yeah, he was every much his father.
Let me ask you this. Black Widow and Hulk. Did anything ever come of that? She seemed to
in the movies, yes.
Yeah,
I'm not sure about the comics.
No, not in the comics, but just in the film. Yeah. Was it ever
romantically?
Was it was it a completed story? No.
Because he didn't stick around after the fights.
He died,
and then she dies. Yeah, so it was always touched on.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, there is a deleted scene from Infinity War.
Oh yeah,
when they're fighting, everybody's fighting and they're in Wakanda, and there's a scene where Bruce is telling, because the Hulk would not come out, and he kind of he's like, all right, buddy, we got to figure this out. Well, after the dust settles from that war, and whoever vanishes, or right before anybody vanishes, I take it back, because Falcon was still in the scene. The intelligent Hulk shows up, and she's getting ready to do that little thing where she calms him down,
right? And
she's like, "Hey there, big guy," and he's like, "Hey, Nat," and he's just talking to her, and they're just looking at each other like, "What the heck just happened?" I would love to see that scene, but I guess Infinity War and Endgame packing in a lot of stuff,
So much. It was 5 hours running time
total.
altogether, both films.
Yeah, total.
But it was worth it.
Yeah,
I think if anybody that could have got Hulk to come out, she was able to soothe him, but I think she would have been able to get him to come out also.
Like raging fire.
Yeah. Smoldering. You
Thor like smoldering ashes.
fire.
I love that scene because Hulk is just like Hulk like raging fire. Hulk always mad.
Thor.
We're just a couple of hotheads. Yeah, we're two
I actually
kindred
love.
spirits.
I love what they've done with Thor's character in the films because they made him funny.
I think the first two, especially the first one, was super uber serious.
Yeah.
The second one, not so much. The second one was what, Dark World?
Yeah, it was
The
Dark
elf one?
World.
Oh, that one sucked. It's okay.
Yeah.
We're gonna skip over that one. That
Yeah.
one was.
It wasn't
But
until
Ragnarok
you
was that
really
buddy
start
cop film. Hulk and Thor just, devil may care attitudes and
And for the record, people, that does fit into the family storyline because that's
Hela.
another crazy. Hela,
Loki.
and Odin, all
And the
are a
mother.
problem. And the mother,
She was a witch.
yes,
Imagine telling that story around Christmas. Yeah, your sister went crazy, so I locked her up.
she killed for me, but she started liking it too much. So
I mean, I had her out here
I had to put her away.
looting and killing and pillaging and raping, and then
And
she
she
just got a little
showed-
bloodthirsty. That raping got a little too exciting to her. So yeah,
Once again, now in this particular case, it was 3 kids, and once again,
that middle one.
that middle one,
It's always the middle one that's
that
busting
middle-
it open and killing people.
right? That oldest one and that
Smart.
youngest one, there was a problem. But that middle
Crazy.
one, he pretty much knocked it out the park.
Oh yeah.
So it stands. I like to see what they're gonna do more with Thor. Like if it's anything,
I'm waiting
Like
on
what
this
we're
new
saying.
one.
I mean, if it's anything like they
Love
did
and-
with
Love
Endgame,
and Thunder.
If it's anything like they did with when he ends up with the Guardians and that whole when they're leaving together.
The Asgardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, I'm waiting on that tagline where they put Guardians of the Galaxy, but then somebody spray paints
Asgard.
Asgard.
Yeah.
I was like, that would
I'm
be a
looking
great
forward to
poster.
that.
So yeah,
Because-
I mean, anytime you have those two on the screen, it was like, I'm the pilot of the ship. I'm the leader of this ship. He was like, you are, and then he gives him the look like, it's okay.
Oh yes, we all know who's the leader.
Yeah, we know who the leader is.
I think you guys should fight it out. Knives only.
Right.
No, that's not necessary. We know who the leader is.
Right. Oh my God,
You say-
that would make it so much fun.
Like there's that part alone.
Their chemistry is pretty good.
Yeah.
That's why I'm waiting to see how this turns. I'm like, you have to touch on that. Like, I'm waiting for that. Well, everybody, it's coming to the end of that show. Any parting shots, Darius?
Stay tuned. We have a lot in the works.
Oh yeah.
Coming down the pipeline next week is something. So be tuned. Stay tuned.
Oh yeah.
That's like that in the business. What we call a teaser, people.
There it is.
No, but
Big
stay
things
put your
happening.
mask
Big
on.
thing. Big things happening for.
The big things are coming. We are enjoying what we do. It is a pleasure to do it. But put your mask on because I want to start doing stuff outside without having to look like Darth Vader. You know how hot those masks are when you're like jumping in and out of a work truck. Like it is horrifying.
Look, you
Like,
know
I feel
how
like
hard
my
it is.
whole face is about to start breaking out with little dots. It's gonna be weird looking.
You know how hard it is with this voice and having a mask on, and they're like,
It
what
just
you-
muffles. It's all like Deadpool with the first mask on. You guys not hear me?
like I'm standing right here, and I'm like,
Tell me who it is.
it's crazy.
I gotta watch that now. I'm about to watch Deadpool too. That is
Don't
my-
give me any ideas.
I love that movie. I can watch that. Go watch Deadpool 1 and 2, people, if you haven't. And if they don't make Deadpool 3, we are making Deadpool 3. I put this out on Facebook. No Deadpool 3. It's gonna be a black Deadpool. So prepare for that. Deadpool 3 coming to a hood.
All
Any-
right.
Any parting shots on Gawain?
Well, I saw that at one time you was talking about storm, different colors of storm, and I thought that it doesn't matter what color storm is. They just have to be able to fill the shoes of the first storm.
Exactly.
If they can't fill the shoes of the first storm, then they shouldn't be on there trying to play the part.
All right.
As long as she isn't. I agree.
Well, everybody, we're at the end of the show. I'm your host, Chris G. That was my co-host, Darius DC Chambers. You can check out Blurred's Eye View on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, anywhere you can listen to a streaming podcast. You can find us. You can also check us out on What the Stuff podcast.
Or if you don't have kids, it's what the shit. But you know,
there it is. You can also catch me on hosting Nerds on Ice every Friday on Facebook Live at 8:30. Just go under Circle of Nerds and look for Nerds on Ice. Half hour of great goodness. We're the coolest nerds, talk about the hottest topics. I'm your host, Chris G. Darius DC Chambers. Blurred's Eye View out.
Oh, check us out on YouTube. There's a lot of pages. We have videos.
There you go.
We're innovative.
Right. Oh, and until that time, everybody, if you can inspire yourself, inspire somebody else. Put your mask on so we can do our jobs.
Mask on.
And empower yourself, empower others. Be nice to everybody. Do something good for yourself and for others. And until then, now Blurred's Eye View is out.
Oh yeah, before we do that, he had inspiration words. I just gotta say, put your damn mask on. Inspire that change.
Make sure to listen to Blurred's Eye View with your host, Chris G, on any of your favorite outlets, including Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Be sure to visit our website at blackgamuttentertainment.com and get the latest on news on our podcast, giveaways, and contests. That's Black Gamut Entertainment, GAMUT Entertainment.com. And thank you for listening.